Yo, what's poppin' guys, Sizzyl here, and today we're taking a look at a game I decided to play after seeing a meme. This meme in particular. I honestly came in expecting the game to suck, because it's a rhythm game, and I not only completely despise rhythm games, but I absolutely suck at them. Even knowing this, I decided I'd jump into this game on hard mode. Why, you might ask? Do you think I know why? Despite the fact that I did manage to beat this game on hard mode, there's no benefit to doing so, and honestly, it didn't make this game any better, so I'd recommend playing this game on normal mode or below, unless you have prior experience with rhythm games, as you'll enjoy the game a lot more that way. That being said, after an epilepsy warning for the rest of this review, and honestly this game in general, seriously, if you have any form of epilepsy, click off this video and stay 400 light years away from this game, you will die. Let's get on to the review. This game was good. I'm not going to keep you waiting. If you were checking this review to see if you should buy Everhood, I would 100% recommend picking it up for its usual $20 price point. It's well worth getting. While I came in expecting a simple rhythm indie game, which this game definitely is, I ended up playing a game that was just a love letter to most retro indie games. The main inspiration that kinda dominates over the others was definitely Undertale though. Similar to Undertale, all of your decisions change the eventual outcome of the game, but unlike what I can remember from playing Undertale back in 2016, the outcome is generally always a positive one, so you won't have to think about leaving the world in shambles by making the wrong choice. On top of that, every choice in this game also causes slight differences throughout the game itself. It didn't only affect the ending, which I thought was pretty cool. That being said, the story is extremely good. Most games can rarely capture my attention with an underlying story, as for me most games generally are about gameplay. However, something about the way they handled the story in this game kept me constantly entertained and looking for more. If I had to take a guess, it's that the characters had a lot of personality. The same 20 to 30 characters are used repeatedly throughout the game, but are generally reused in almost completely different storylines within the main already existing storyline, which really ended up getting me extremely attached to the many different characters. In particular, I got really attached to my boy Flan, who I genuinely felt bad having to fight every time I did because he's just such a wholesome and lovable character. Speaking about gameplay, this game has a lot. The main underlying gameplay is mainly a rhythm game. However, there are some non-rhythm game parts, which were also extremely fun, with the main one coming to mind being a 2D old-style racing game. As someone who generally hates rhythm games, I was also expecting to hate playing the main game, but I ended up actually loving it by the end. It probably had to do with the pacing, which was definitely the best part of this game. There's only a handful of games I can think of where across the entire game the pacing was perfect, and Everhood has now joined that list. I'm not sure how the devs did it, but this game genuinely progresses at the perfect pace across the entire game. On top of that, the gameplay itself is pretty fun. I mentioned how the pacing is already extremely well done, but so are the fights. This game is all about different battles with, yet again, the same set of characters. All of these fights not only felt super unique even against other fights from the same character, but they all played really well. Probably the main reason that these fights felt so unique were the visuals. The game devs here just went absolutely insane with the visual effects. Every fight pretty much looked completely insane and somehow completely different from anything else that you had done until that point. The visuals were genuinely almost impossible to comprehend, and my only real complaint to them would probably be that because I had to focus on dodging the music notes sometimes, I felt like I was missing some of the cool visuals happening on other parts of the screen. It also had some nice visuals in the overworld, with one of my favorite things being a portion of the game that recreated the Pokemon Black and White graphical style. And what would a rhythm game be without music? This game has some banger tunes. While most of the music isn't really that good when played on its own in my opinion, although some of it definitely is, when combined with the atmosphere this game provides, you'll be in bliss just listening to it while playing the game. The game also has a ton of checkpoints and save points to the point that I never felt bad losing a fight, which happened quite a lot, but somehow it still felt super satisfying to prevail after losing a hard fight a few times. The only real issue I had with this game was the final level. I managed to beat the entire game in around 4 to 5 hours on hard mode, which should probably take most people around 3 hours honestly, but the final level on its own took me around 2 to 3 hours. That's really only the bad part of this game for me personally, since I attempted to beat this game in one session, but ended up having to lower the difficulty just for like the final 5 minutes because I was expecting 5 hours of playtime max, which is honestly more of a personal problem rather than an issue with the game. But I just wanted to warn anyone who wants to play this game that when you're about to enter the final portion of this game, which will be pretty obvious when you get to that point, make sure you have a lot of time to play through the final level. That's honestly the only real issue I had playing this game. This is a very hidden gem that I'm extremely thankful to have found through a meme of all things. As I stated, the story and gameplay are both super enthralling and unlike anything I've ever played before. And I doubt any game will be able to capture any kind of feeling similar to the ones I experienced playing this one. It's very rare that I find myself getting attached to any characters, even ones in things like movies, which should be a testament to how invested I became in this game, which I went into with negative expectations. Overall, this game will be fun for literally anyone. Except, as I stated, people that have issues related to epilepsy, as this game goes super hard on the visual effects. But for anyone else, I can't recommend it enough. I genuinely cannot see anyone not enjoying this. If it wasn't obvious enough, I have to give this game a 5 out of 5.